Hey everyone, and welcome to Business Boutique. I'm Christy Wright, and I'm so excited because today I get to share another awesome conversation with you that I had with my good friend, Liz Cox. Liz is actually a business boutique success story. She is the marketing director for Twirl Boutique. She's the co-owner of Meant to Be Boutique, and she is the host of the Twirl Talk podcast. She also is all about women championing other women. She is awesome, and I know you will love her as much as I do. Check this out. Liz, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me. I'm so honored.
I'm so excited about this because you are actually one of our business boutique success stories. So let's just start with a little bit about who you are and what your business is and even how you kind of got involved with Business Boutique back in the day.
I am Liz Cox. I live in Lexington, Kentucky, and I run two bridal boutiques here in Lexington, Twirl Boutique and Meant to Be Boutique. I am the marketing director for Twirl and manager over there, and then I co-own Meant to Be, which is basically Twirl's year-long sample sale. And then we just recently started a third business, because we're insane, called Refined Retail Consulting. So we're business consultants for retail small brick and mortar businesses. So that's brand new, but super exciting. And then I saw I was like, how did we hear about Business Boutique? I think it was through Instagram, because we had followed you. We'd read your book, and then we saw that you were coming to Louisville, which is just right up the road from us, for a one-day Business Boutique event, and we were like, we have to go. This is perfect. And so we loaded up in the car, and I think we had made some connections, and so we got to do kind of the VIP experience with it, and it was so much fun. And what was really fun was going into it. So Twirl's been around. We turn 10 years old in November. Meant to Be will be 4 years old in December. So we weren't so much brand new businesses, and the consulting business wasn't even a thought back then. But going into it, I had the idea of doing our own podcast. And so going to Business Boutique, we walked away and we're like, yep, we're doing that, aren't we? We're doing it.
I love it.
And that was, we had you on the podcast, and we've just had some amazing guests. And it's just been really fun. So it's kind of opened up this whole new avenue to serve our community, to serve our brides and people beyond that would never walk in our door. So it's been so much fun to get to do that and have this new avenue to connect with women of all walks of life.
Now, one of the things that I think is really cool that you write about, you talk about, it's a theme in your podcast, is this idea of women championing women, specifically women championing women at different seasons of life. And I think that is easier said than done, and we want to do it, and I think it's so important to do it, but different things get in the way, whether it's comparison or jealousy or envy or discontentment. Let's talk about this. Let's talk about what does it look like to champion other women, but also champion other women that are in different season of life than you are.
Yeah. Yes, let's talk about it.
Let's talk about it.
This is my favorite thing to talk about, both in the podcast, in life, in business, and all of the things, because I think, where would we be if we held back because of all of those things you just said? Comparison and envy and distrust of distrust in ourselves. So then we have this distrust with other people. And I live in such this mindset of, let's not focus on what could go wrong here, but let's focus on what could go right. So often we live in this mindset of, oh, well, she has too many friends already, or she wouldn't like me, or she wouldn't blank. You fill in the blank. There's always something there rooted in fear that holds us back from pushing forward into those relationships. And I just think, what would go wrong if you said hello to that person, or you sent that email that said, hey, I know we're doing the same thing here, and we know how hard it is, so we know how hard it is for you too. Like, let's be friends here. It's the power of women saying, let's do this together. And I think there's something to that of, we were never meant to do any of this alone, whether that be women championing women or not. We were made for community. We were made for relationship. And I have an incredible group of friends from all walks of life. I think specifically for me, currently, I am single. And so I think it is really easy. I'm single. I'm getting in my later 20s, which we just won't talk about. But it's this, and we live in the South, so it's very typical that a lot of my friends and just women in the South get married really young. And I'm in that stage too where a lot of them are now having babies. And I think it would be really easy for me to think, oh my God, I'm so behind.
Yeah.
I'm so behind. And by God's grace, I'm not there. That's literally by God's grace, I don't feel like that. But it would be so easy to feel that way. And I think we just have to fight to be okay and fulfilled in the season where God has us.
Yeah.
Because it's not by mistake.
That's right.
I think as women, if we can say, again, like, I see you, I hear you, I feel for you, even if you've been in that season or you have yet to be in that season, there is this tension that we have to walk into with each other and welcome into that relationship of like, hey, our lives may look different, but yet we are the same.
Yeah.
Because we are women.
There's such comfort too, and I feel like all the different types of friendships, like even looking back on my life and the different seasons that I've gone through, from single to dating to married to babies. And so when I was single, when I was like 27, 28, same thing as you, Nashville.
Yeah.
It's like, if you're not married by 30, like there's no hope for you, bless your heart.
And cursed, yes.
Yeah, and which let's just camp there for a second, because it's so funny how cultural that is. Because in the South, if you live in the South and you're listening and watching right now, there's this real strong undercurrent of, if you're not married by 25, maybe there's still someone out there, someone that, it's like ridiculous. My friend Susan lives in New York, in Manhattan. And if you are married before 35, something is wrong with you. Why would you ever tie yourself down before 35? So it's just funny, this cultural influence. But, I, in my mid-20s, had this real sense of, I'm left behind, I'm forgotten in this whole area of being single and that type of thing. So there's such value in having friends and mentors and relationships in all different seasons, those that are walking in your shoes and those that are in different shoes than you. Now let's talk about what are some of the enemies of this? Like, let's go ahead and call out, like, what are some of the barriers to those friendships? We talked on a little bit, whether it's comparison or envy. It's like, how can we not only identify the enemies of these friendships, but combat them, to really guard against those things? Yes.
I think, and it was so sweet, a friend of mine and I had this conversation on our podcast, living in this headspace of, they're too busy for me. Or, they won't understand. I think assumptions. Yes, it's so silly. It's so silly the way we get in our heads and tell ourselves these lies. Each of us are making assumptions about each other's lives when really we're not taking the time to ask, hey, how are you?
Yeah.
Like, really, how are you? And that doesn't mean that you have to sit at coffee for 3 hours and talk about it and cry into your cappuccino. Like, that's not what it always has to be. Sometimes you do need that, but sometimes it's, we're gonna call each other once a week or shoot each other a text once a week. It's making intentional actions to combat those. Yeah. And that's a discipline. And it can feel like an inconvenience, but I think it's when we understand that those relationships are what our soul needs.
Yeah. I would imagine that in your industry, the bridal industry, the wedding industry, that you work primarily with women customers, moms of brides, they're special. And also, my mom was in the wedding cake business, so I know all about the moms. It's not the brides, it's the moms.
No,
anyway,
it's the moms.
But from business partners to vendors to key relationships, that type of thing, what are some of the dynamics of working primarily with women? Career journey, in your friendships, in your life, what are the kind of the good sides and the bad sides, and how have you balanced all that working primarily with women day to day?
I think some of the negative things that we have experienced in our business is we are easy targets. And it may be something that's completely out of our hands. But again, we as women are emotional beings, and that's beautiful when it's in a healthy context and we have a grip on those emotions. We've been in business for 10 years. Like, of course, we've dealt with the crazies. And that's just part of business. Like, it doesn't matter what field you're in.
That's right.
You're going to deal with the crazies.
Men or women, there are crazies.
Men or women.
Gender neutral.
Yes, that is gender neutral, 100%. And I have been the crazies. You know what I mean? That's the thing.
Absolutely, yes.
Is that we always have to step back and say, like, okay, our big thing is if we can be the one thing today that makes their day better, that's our goal. because we need that. Like, this world is crazy. We need kindness. I think women aren't always kind to each other.
Right.
And I don't always know what that is. I think a lot of it is insecurity. I think a lot of it is these inner monologues we play. It's like all these dumb narratives that we have be a sounding board for nothing.
Right.
Like, so we're living in this context of just pointless, like, noises. You know, the world is so noisy. It's so noisy. So I think, what if for a moment we empower other women with kindness? Like, that can transform the world.
It's so contagious too, because I feel like the drama, the gossip, all of that is contagious and so easy to get sucked into, even if you're having a perfectly good day. But kindness is contagious as well. And so even as you're talking about, like, we can lead that through someone coming at us being hateful, whether it's a customer or a friend or a mother-in-law or an aunt or whatever, or someone on Facebook, to respond with kindness, with grace. One of the most simple concepts that's really been transformative for me is just the gift of empathy, to put yourself in their shoes. So how would you behave if you were above the drama, if you were above reproach, if you were classier than that, if you weren't going to get sucked in, whether it's the narrative or the chaos or gossip or whatever. And we have that choice. And so I love that. Liz, you're such an example of that. And I know that you probably deal with that every single day, but I just love your story of building your business, but also navigating this season of life that you're in and these friendships and figuring out what that looks like. Okay, now I know people are thinking, how can I connect with you? Tell us about your podcast, your website, your business consulting, all the things where people can find you.
Yes, so I would love to connect with you all however you want. So you can find us. Our podcast is called Twirl Talk Podcast, and that's on iTunes, Spotify, Twirl Talk Podcast. Well, it's on our website, twirlboutique.com/podcast, so you can find all the things there. Also, if you're in our neck of the woods or want to travel to us to find a wedding dress, please come visit us at twirlboutique.com or meanttobeboutique.com. And then if you are a retail business or have the dream of becoming a retail business, we would love to connect with you and coach you and mentor you through that. And you can find us at Refine Retail Consulting and on Instagram or refineretailconsulting.com.
I love it. Liz, you are such a joy and so fun to hang out with. Thanks so much for taking some time to teach us and inspire us today.
Of course. Thank you. So grateful.
Thanks so much for watching, and don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. And now you can check out this next video.